Hey there, guys, it's Liam Landry here with the Small Wrestling Alliance, giving you my review of the January 31st episode of NXT, and tell you if it was worth it. Now, this is the episode following TakeOver Philadelphia, a great show, and if you want to hear more about that, you can watch our review of it on the Small Wrestling Alliance channel. It's me and Issa talking about it, and not to spoil, but anything, but it was definitely worth it. Though, watch our video to actually hear all points about it. Anyways, for tonight's video, while it is the Wednesday after Takeover, these events are normally filmed the very same night as Takeover is in the same arena. So because of that, that normally means since all the major stars are on Takeover, that they don't really have any, not to say, well, I guess big names or big matches for this. It's normally just a few little matches and then a lot of recap from the takeover event, and that's it. But this night it did have a main match, and that's in the main event, Roderick Strong versus Tyler Bates, and I will get to that after we cover the other two matches of the night. But I will also, just to get out of the way, talk about all of the video packages related to Takeover. This this night, like every episode after Takeover, is just chock filled with like video packages, or for every single match that happens, some backstage interviews and stuff like that, and it's normally never really worth it. You really don't get anything from it that you wouldn't get from just watching a Takeover event, and realistically, there's no reason why you would watch the the NXT the Wednesday after Takeover, and not actually watch that Takeover event. I mean, they do this because Raw and SmackDown have always done that, but it's a big difference because Raw you already get for free if you have cable or satellites. The same with SmackDown, and they're trying to tease you into buying a pay per view or buying the network to see those pay per views. But the thing is that to watch NXT, you already have the network, which means you're already seeing NXT Takeover. You, it would seem ridiculous that you'd have to be teased. Um, I think they also have NXT on Hulu, so I guess maybe trying to convince those people to get on the network, because I don't think they have the takeovers on Hulu. I definitely doubt it. But it's a weird program that I think they should stop. I mean, I think they have enough talent to avoid that. But anyways, well, let's get into the actual matches of the night. First match was Lacey Evans versus Nikki Cross. Lacey Evans, came out with a heel persona, and she called out a whole bunch of women in the NXT locker room. One definitely being Nikki Cross, and they've had their first match tonight. And while this, was a good opening match, there's no real problems with it. It really came out short, with Nikki Cross really feeling like she came out with a win out of nowhere on Lacey Evans, and it's just didn't really have any build, didn't get any time. You can always tell when an NXT match is very short because they don't put a commercial break in it. And the first two matches we had tonight didn't have commercial breaks in them. Uh, so it's definitely not worth it on its own. And it's also weird. I was kind of more leaning towards that they'll give Lacey Evans the win via know, a dirty move like a distraction or cheating, something. But they didn't, which like I said, it's kind of weird. She just came out with this heel persona, and she already lost. It's not really a good way to build up a heel. Though it is good to see Nikki Cross really doing something. She hasn't really done anything since the Fatal 4-Way match at the Takeover before Survivor Series. She she's been kind of around Sanity in their feuds with other people, especially the Undisputed era, but she hasn't really been doing anything herself. So it was still good that they at least gave her something. Though this kind of leans back to my point when I was saying, you really don't have to have all this wasted time going over what happened at NXT Takeover because you have enough talent that they're not even being used properly. A lot of people just in the back sitting around doing nothing. You feel that you don't have to burn any time on these video packages, but I digress. Uh, so it was definitely not worth it. Definitely not on its own. And then we get into more stuff not worth it, which were the video packages. Once again, I'm just skipping those. Just watch Takeover. And then we get into our tag team match of the night, which is TM61. They had the 2 video packages the last 2 weeks. Basically trying to get people back to cheering for them because they've been out for like almost a year. So they put out these video packages basically to put as vignettes like you would do for a debuting character, try to get people reinvested with them. And I definitely think it worked. The crowd was really popped, really happy to see them, and they did really well in their match. But it was basically a squash match. I mean, they it doesn't even really matter what team they did, and you can tell because they didn't even advertise the other team. They were just like TM61 in the match later tonight, and at that point you're like, I guess if the other team doesn't really matter, then it doesn't matter to me either. And while TM61 looked great in the match itself, it still was very one-sided, very short. Once again, no commercials, and just a squash match, an overqualified squash match. And while it did its job in getting TM61 over the crowd, I'm definitely waiting to see them go back and have like real matches with some top contenders in the tag team division. I definitely want them to see them to chase gold and try to fight the Undisputed Era later on. But as what it is, it it's only kind of worth it. I would only really say worth it, you know, as attached to the main event, which I'm about to talk about. But I would never say go out your way to watch this, because it really wasn't worth the time just for that. But for the main event, it definitely becomes worth it. Now to get to that, you're gonna have to go through some more video packages. I mean, realistically, I had to skip through all that. I I knew that was what they were gonna do, so I didn't even watch it at 7 exactly. I watched it a little later just to get through that and get to the matches because they're never worth it, sadly enough. But anyways, this main event was definitely worth it. This was Roderick Strong versus Tyler Bates for the number 1 contender spot for the UK Championship. Basically to see who's gonna fight Pete Dunne. And this is one of those examples when I'm saying they didn't use all their big name talent for the takeover event, and he did save some guys in both these guys really. And this match is, of course, like if someone came to you and was like, Roderick Strong and Tyler Bates are having a match, it's everything you would have thought that was. It was great, fast paced, back and forth, great action in there, great counters and everything. Some good storytelling too. It was really great match. There's really not even that much to say about it other than just watch it. Definitely worth it. Roderick Strong comes out the winner in the match and is going to be facing Pete Dunne. They didn't really say when that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to wait all the way to TakeOver New Orleans, but it's going to happen, and it is weird in that regard because they had a few weeks ago Roderick Strong go and call out Lars Sullivan, so I don't know if they're just postponing that feud until later, because I mean they haven't done anything with it. They didn't talk about it this week, so I don't know what's happening with it. I don't know if it's completely dropped or just postponed. But anyways, this was a stellar match. It's great to see Roderick Strong win. It's not because the real thing is while Tyler Bates and Pete Dunne had great matches, some of the best rivalry of the NXT really from all these stellar matches throughout the whole year of 2017. But I don't want to see them really go back into to fight each other. It's even a little disappointing to see that the number one contendership spot for the UK Championship is Tyler Bates again and an American. I don't know why they're not really utilizing any more talent from the UK tournament or even bringing in new UK guys. It's really weird, but it is what it is. At least gave us a really stellar match, and I'm sure Pete Dunne versus Roderick Strong is going to be a great match, whether that's on an episode of NXT in the future or it's at NXT Takeover New Orleans. It's going to be a great match, and I can tell now it's going to be worth it. But anyways, as the night as a whole, it's only really worth it to watch the main event and some of TM61 if maybe you didn't see some of their work when they first came in here, because I mean that was a year ago, so maybe you came in afterwards and you kind of got excited from watching the TM61 video packages that they had the last 2 weeks. Watch it to see these guys because they're really talented. It's just it wasn't that compelling or interesting of a match. But you can watch that and definitely watch the Tyler Bates versus Roderick Strong match. Those are just it's just too good to pass up. Yeah, I'm definitely jealous of the people in Philadelphia that night that they got to see so many great NXT matches live, and I'm trying to go to NXT Takeover New Orleans. Hopefully, it'll be as good. Who knows? But until next week, see ya.